I mention all this just so when you hear how great the economy is doing right now, let's just remember when this recovery started.
All right, that's enough of that. You know, I'm curious about something because it strikes me as odd. How can someone who stood and shook his finger at the American people and said, those jobs are never coming back? Remember that? He talked about the production jobs. He talked about the kind of impact of that part of the economy. He's like, those jobs are never coming back. And now they've come roaring back. And suddenly, somehow, his credit to take for all of this, when in reality, it was the unleashing of his 2000 regulations on business, executive regulations that he put on business that really started the economic recovery. It was not even the tax reform. It was when President Trump started undoing all of those small business regulations that you saw the economy really take off. Anyway, we've got a lot to cover today, and I've invited David Fischer, who's with us on Money Mondays, to spend some extra time because the economy is going to be part of the discussion going into the elections. And, David, it's always good to have you. Thanks for being back.
My pleasure. I love the numbers that President Trump has put in our current environment, and he's clearly growing the economy. I mean, that is just factual. I don't see how anybody can say otherwise.
Yeah. Well, and along those lines, he just signed an executive order of his own. He mostly was undoing Obama executive orders, but he just signed one of his own that is aimed at boosting retirement savings. What's that all about?
Well, we haven't addressed the retirement savings since the year 2001, Kevin. What this executive order is aimed at boosting retirement savings for America to put more money in their pockets, allowing them to not pull out as much money per year, called an RMD, which gets required minimum distribution, which gets triggered at 70 and a half, and the IRS has some tables to figure out how much money you're supposed to pull out, which is based upon your age and how much is in their retirement. Long story short, this is actually putting more money in the Americans' pockets by saying, we're not going to force you to take out as much money as you should under the current plan. So they're reviewing the rules by the IRS, and that's what this executive order does. One of two things. The second thing is he's trying to lower the cost for small businesses to set up 401ks because the infrastructure of the cost is just erroneous.
Well, and I think both of those, if you're talking about a healthy workforce, I think both of those are really, really good, because if we can let the average worker save more and not force them to take as much out, that's all good financial health, right?
Absolutely. What a great concept, putting more money in Americans' pockets. In essence, it's just piggybacks the tax incentive break that they gave us here recently.
Yeah. Well, another thing that the president has been doing, and he's going to be judged on this in the election. Make no mistake about it, friends. This is an Obama versus Trump election, even though neither one of them are on the ballot. And he struck independent deals with Mexico. But Canada was not able to come to an agreement. These are in efforts to replace the old NAFTA agreement. What are the markets doing in response so far?
Well, Thursday, the market was up when we struck an agreement in the aftermath of Mexico. Friday, they went down because we couldn't get one with Canada. It still kind of lingers today. There's threat more tariffs might be put in place. But, all in all, Kevin, the economy is doing great. Non-farm payrolls grew 201,000 in August, and Reuters thought they were going to grow by 191,000. That's a phenomenal increase. And hourly wages are jumped 2.9%, while, again, Reuters thought it would only be 2.7%. We have the unemployment rate at a generation low of 3.9%, according to the Bureau of Labor Stats, and we are in a wage growth at the highest since April 2009. So the numbers, whether we get these tariffs or not, I think we're going to still have a growing economy. It will be some drag a little bit on the market, but the economy is growing.
Speaking of tariffs, where are we at with China?
China, they're threatening President Trump is threatening to induce $267 billion of tariffs. It's not going to be a good thing if this does happen. There's several companies and ports already reporting saying if this happens, it's going to could possibly trigger a recession. It's not coming from Democrats. This is just across the board. So I don't know if that's going to be a wise thing. That's why President Trump is thinking. He could have already done this, but he's thinking twice about this.
One of the interesting things about all of this is that we haven't talked about interest rates and the Fed in a while. Any action that you see happening on that front this week?
Well, the Fed is going to come out and announce probably a quarter rate hike this week. It's the September rate hike. There is a 72% chance, according to the Fed survey, that we will have a fourth rate hike this year in December, around the 15th. So now economists are saying that the economy is actually overheating, and that's why the Fed has to raise rates. That's why we didn't raise them before under Obama. There's another fact that says the economy is growing. So this could actually cause some recessionary environment because they're unwinding the balance sheet and raising rates at the same time, a big challenge. All
right, so we continue with David Fischer. There's more Money Monday straight ahead, but that's the stuff that impacts the elections. It's Kevin McCullough Radio. They're owners of the fabulous Hilton Garden Inn, Nicotra's Ballroom, Lorenzo's Restaurant, Bar and Cabaret, and Above, an indoor-outdoor rooftop event space. Whatever the occasion, wedding, anniversary, birthday, retirement, corporate events, meetings, etc.
Are your credit cards maxed out? Do you owe more than $10,000? Are you juggling your bills, only making minimum payments? Credit card companies are playing a dirty trick on you. They want you to think you must pay it all back, and that's simply not true. Credit card companies hate it when we expose their secrets. In fact, there are ways you can become debt-free and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. National Debt Relief offers programs that help you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $1 billion of debt. National Debt Relief has earned an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They're also the #1 rated debt relief program by Top Consumer Reviews and Top 10 Reviews. Don't declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. Settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Call National Debt Relief now at 800-645-1660.
Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be in the greatest city in the world,
Your Money Matters CEO of Landmark Capital, exclusively on Your Money Monday at Kevin McCullough Radio.
The CEO of that Landmark Capital is none other than David Fischer, and you see him on TD Ameritrade Network, and you've seen him on Newsmax TV, and, of course, he's here every Monday, and we're talking about the economy and all the news of where things are at, and I anticipate that this fall is just going to be crazier and crazier, particularly around the election, David, because I think, depending on what the voters decide, the markets are going to respond, and if there's a lurch away from the Trump policies, I think that we might see some reaction to that in November, but we'll have to wait and see what that brings about. Let's talk about, and we love doing this, that we've entered the fall kind of unofficially. It doesn't come till later this month, but after Labor Day in my house, we always consider it the fall because that's when school starts. And we've got a brand new contest that we're rolling out, and I want you to tell everybody about it and kind of the significance of the coin and what we're doing this time.
Well, President Trump is trying to make America great, and I think he's doing a great job doing it with much opposition, I will say. It's all about expanding the economy, and how you do that, one of many ways, is you create better trade negotiations. And something that was very historic that we actually had a little short contest on a couple weeks ago on your program, and the answer was the Panama Canal. So the Panama Canal was a very historic event, and most people might not realize this. We bought the piece of land from Panama for $10 million to protect them from Nicaragua, and under 1997, later on, we gave it back to them under Jimmy Carter. But this opened up trade, and it was started being built in 1903. It finished in 1914, but really celebrated in America in 1915 in San Francisco at the Panama Exposition in San Francisco. Was a World's Fair, and in commemorating what President Trump is trying to do, and us helping people diversify into gold, we're going to give away a historic coin, a 1915 $20 gold piece St. Gaudens coin, MS-64 grade, and the value of the coin, we can conservatively say it's around $1,500. My competitors say it's worth somewhere around $1,600 to $2,000, but we're going to be conservative. But there's a lot of phenomenal things that were happening in 1915, and we're giving away a gold coin, a free book, and a consultation with myself on called the Financial Blueprint to help people understand how to diversify into precious metals and the need for that.
Yeah, that consultation, as you've given it to our last two winners, that has actually turned into some very eye-opening conversation for them, because I think that they were just surprised at how needed it is to understand their own portfolio and so forth. So I really want people not to undervalue that. But that book you made mention of in passing there is also quite interesting. And since the coin is of such a rare vintage, this book becomes even more interesting. Describe the book and what's in there.
Well, it's a guidebook of United States coins. It talks about all the coins that the United States minted, why they were minted, the stories behind them, and how many they minted, and also how to invest in coins. So it's the most widely bought book, second to the Bible, and we're giving away that book to help people understand the markets.
Well, and as they invest in coins or are considering about it, it's also a good reference for them to see. That's the book my 8-year-old would just totally be attracted to, because he just loves to just pore over these things with the pictures and the details and the data and all that stuff. So, friends, it's a really beautiful work. This whole prize package is amazing, and here's how you register for it. You go to the website of the radio station, either AM570themission.com or AM970theanswer.com. And if you're listening somewhere else, you can go to either one of those websites, and that's fine. You can also call David's team at 844-604-2575 and register for your chance to win. We're giving this away in December, so this is kind of our giveaway leading up to the Christmas season, and this will be really, really special. David, when we awarded the last one, I mean, they were excited when we told them on air, but then they got the coin in their hand, and what happened then?
No, they took actually videotapes of the FedEx driver delivering the package, opening the box, looking at the coin, and the conversation I had with them long after all that, they were still just as much as excited. And I'm actually having another conversation with them maybe as early as today. I'm going to see if we can work that in. But they're very excited about the possibility of maybe looking into further investing in precious metals.
Yeah, well, diversification is going to be important, and if the global economy is not crystally clear, smooth riding all the way out, friends, you're gonna wish you had diversified a bit as well, because as good as the stock market has and can be, if you have all the eggs in one basket, David, that's a poor strategy.
Absolutely. You know, we're having a lot of news media coming out and saying that we're not prepared, near prepared for a crisis like we were even before, and then most of it we weren't prepared for in 2000 and 2008. And the news is coming out saying, you know, you got to think about matter of it's not if but when. And you know, gold went up 50% in 2008 and a multi-year run, so it tells us that gold plays a very viable, important role in a diversified portfolio, that when the time comes, the correction happens, gold will usually rally.
Yeah. Well, call David's office today. Get all the details about that. You can also get the new newsletter. Came out last week, titled Tariffs, the Untold Story Part 2. You can find out more about their 2018 white paper, which is really important. Time is up. Which bubble will burst first to trigger the coming Great Deflate? And you can request both of those at landmarkgold.com or 844-604-2575. But again, that beautiful $20 1-ounce gold coin commemorating the 1915 minting in San Francisco and the Panama Canal and that whole story, plus the book, plus the consultation, you don't want to not register for that. Go to the website or call them today. It's Kevin McCullough Radio.